just go easy on me. So you are very welcome. We appreciate you signing in, and we're excited that you're here to know a little bit more about apprenticeships and how they will work to benefit you or your team or the trust. So we hope that you will find this helpful. So how do I go to my next slide? It's not working. Oh, here we go. So we're just gonna before. Oh, hang on. So you've seen the advertisement on In the Know, hopefully, and you hopefully have signed in to hear a little bit about 3 specific apprenticeships. So we're advertising with Walsall College Business Admin Level 3, Customer Service Level 2, and Team Leader Level 3. So we have a very long-standing relationship with Walsall College, who've been delivering on our apprenticeship programme for several years now. They've been on us with us in the journey from the beginning. We don't know who of you or what you know about apprenticeships, so forgive us if we're repeating anything, but we wanted to use the opportunity to give you some general information about apprenticeships first. So we hope that you'll find it helpful. Please pass on the information. Hopefully we'll tell you some things that you didn't know that will be of benefit. So please, spread the word, tell somebody, tell a colleague, tell a fellow manager, or tell your manager. So yes, off we go. So we're going to just tell you who we are. So meet the team. We're going to tell you what an apprenticeship is, if you didn't already know. We're going to tell you a little bit how it's funded, so something called the levy, how it's used, what programmes we offer and the training providers, why apprenticeships and the benefits. And Walsall College, our team over here, are going to tell you a little bit about those 3 specific apprenticeships that I mentioned, briefly look at some success stories and an opportunity to ask some questions. So here we go. So top left, that's me. My name is Fran Hancock. Sorry, I should have said that already. That's what I look like when I don't have a mask on. So myself and Joe are kind of job sharing the apprenticeship and work experience manager role. And Mia Taylor is our apprenticeship programme coordinator. And Katie is our work experience and apprenticeship coordinator. So they Joe is on the meeting. You might see her face somewhere. So Joe's here just to keep on saying the right thing, keep me in check.
Hi.
And Mia and Katie, you may well speak to if you're interested in taking any of this information forwards. So, what's an apprenticeship? So, apprenticeship is actually just a job that includes a combination of practical training, essential skills, and gaining a qualification whilst you are earning a wage. Apprentices can be anything from 16 and upwards, and you would be working and studying your work-based qualification, and they're all levels, so anything from level 2, which is like a GCSE level equivalent, and they go right up to degree and master's level, so then you're looking at level 6 and 7. I think my space bar is just slow. Here we go. So they have to be a minimum of 1 year, and they can be anything up to 4 years. So obviously 1 year you're looking at things like business admin level 2. 4 years you might be looking at things like your physiotherapy degree apprenticeship and master's level apprenticeships. They must be relevant to your job role. So if you wanted to study an apprenticeship, you're a manager in kind of an administration based role, you can't then go and do a nurse degree apprenticeship. It's got to be something that is relevant to your job role. And you may have heard the term 20% off the job time. So it is something that is a stipulation of apprenticeships. So as you're studying on an apprenticeship, you'll be given 20% of your working time as off the job training time. So it includes, your actual study of the apprenticeship, your learning time, and any kind of study time or any new learning related to your role. There can be lots of questions around this. So rather than go into detail now, we have got a page on our hub that's got lots of FAQs and lots of information around your 20%, because that's primarily something that your managers will probably ask you about. If you're on here thinking, I want to develop myself, I want to sign up to an apprenticeship, then this is what your manager will want to know, how it's going to affect you and your time, kind of your working time as such. So you can refer to our hub for that. So what's the levy? Just swapping my notes pages on the other side. So you might have heard this term perhaps a little bit more around the trust in recent years. It was introduced in 2007, so it's been around a while. It's basically a tax on employers, and we pay it, and it's 0.5% of our total pay bill. So if you can imagine, that's quite a lot of money for us as a trust. At the same time as this was introduced, the government introduced something called the public sector target. And this basically says that 2.3% of our workforce should be made up of apprentices. So that is anybody studying on an apprenticeship. So that could be somebody who we've employed on an apprenticeship new into trust, or that could be a member of staff currently studying on an apprenticeship to develop themselves and upskill themselves within their role. So what does it mean? It's really helpful, actually. So saying it's a tax doesn't actually kind of mean anything. It basically, the money goes into a digital account, and it is available for us to use, and it's available solely for us to use to fund our apprenticeship training and assessment. And of course, as I've said, it's quite a bit of money, so it is a massive benefit to us, and it is absolutely all about growing our own talent. It's about developing staff at all levels, and it is, if we don't use it, we lose it. So it's within our interest to use it, and to use it for the trust's benefit, and that's obviously why we're here telling you about it, because we want you to know, and we want to use it. And just a note here to say what it isn't. So it doesn't cover any salary costs at all, and it can't pay for any training that isn't part of an apprenticeship. And here are a couple of, I'll say a couple, there's quite a few there, isn't there? Qualifications under the apprenticeship banner that we are currently or have previously delivered. Sorry, we haven't delivered them, but the training providers deliver them, and that we have staff studying on these. So again, either people who've come into trust as a trainee, apprentice doing one of these roles, or an existing member of staff upskilling. So you can see there's a huge range there. So we've got all manner of kind of admin based roles on kind of levels 2, 3, HR, business admin, pharmacy, finance, payroll, right up to levels 5, 6, 7. As I've mentioned already, physiotherapy, that's not actually on there, but it should be. Physiotherapy degree apprentice, diagnostic radiographer, and then some kind of master's level. So we're looking at senior leaders, masters, and advanced clinical practitioner. So you'll see as well that there's a range of kind of admin based roles as well as clinical. So apprenticeships are being developed all of the time, because the money, obviously companies, big organizations like us, have a bigger levy pot. And so the reason kind of it was started really was to make qualifications work for you as an organisation. So all of the apprenticeships developed here have been developed by organisations getting together along with training providers, and they input into that qualification to make it right for the business. So it's so they're more suited to us, rather than just an off-the-shelf qualification that historically may have been the case. So just a word to say here, the links at the bottom, we can forward on. If you're interested, let us know what you want to know. We can pass links on, and there are links, lots of helpful information on our hub pages. The 2 links here just basically give you an overview of the apprenticeships that are either currently approved or those being approved or being developed at the moment. So the first link, the skills for health, um, that's quite a helpful one for us, obviously, as an NHS trust. So it breaks it down in terms of apprenticeship levels and, areas of the trust. So it will go, all sorts of things from, portering, for example, right through to some of the clinical things that you're looking at, and you can see them. And it's helpful to see what's in development. So please feel free to have a little look at those. And here is here are some of the providers that we are working with. So again, you'll see quite a big array of providers, and this has grown, massively really within the last sort of 2 to 3 years. So obviously you'll see our team at Walsall College here. We've got Dudley College that we're doing. And obviously some of the degree and master's level apprenticeships we've partnered with some of the local universities, and some that aren't necessarily so local as well. So there we go. Ooh, okay, and some of the benefits of apprenticeships. Let's grab my other page. Sorry, I'm finding it weird clicking from one screen to another. So as I've already mentioned, it is a massive opportunity to grow our own talent. So here we're talking about kind of getting new staff into the trust. And there are lots of ways of getting new staff into the trust under the apprenticeship banner. So you might think it's just kind of new business admin, kind of younger apprenticeships, but actually it can be anything. So I think we've recently looked at a HR trainee at kind of a level 5, and looking at getting people in on a trainee role, but under the banner of an apprenticeship. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be paid at minimum apprenticeship salary. We can chat to you a little bit more in depth if you're a manager and you're looking at getting somebody new, or looking at your kind of career pathways within your department. We can kind of have a chat with you on an individual level to see what qualifications you might look at within your team and how you can do that. So yeah, it's a really helpful thing to kind of know and utilize. Obviously, it's an opportunity for our own staff, current existing staff, to grow and develop. The training and assessment costs, as we've already said, are fully funded by the levy, so there's no cost to you as an individual or to your department. Obviously, when we're investing in staff, it means that they're feeling more invested in, they're developing, and so they're more likely to stay loyal to the trust and remain employed with us. It's a great opportunity to create a diverse workforce, which is so important. It's an opportunity for existing staff to pass on their knowledge to, for example, new apprentices. If they were taking on a new apprentice within the trust, it's an opportunity for staff to come alongside them and to mentor them and to grow them, their skills as well. And it does help to address, or it can help to address, some skills shortages across the trust. So one example that we've had in the past is, I don't know if you know audiology at all. So audiology was struggling to recruit something called assistant technical officers, I think. And due to people not having the skills and qualifications to do that, so they absolutely utilised apprenticeships to do that. And they utilised the healthcare science side of apprenticeships, and one of the qualifications within that. And then they got somebody in who is now employed as a substantive member of staff, and has got the qualifications, has been trained up within the department, and is performing that role. So that's one example. I suppose perhaps we could say also like the nursing side, with kind of a national, forgive me, this might have changed a little bit in the past 12 months, so my knowledge might be a bit sort of 12 months old. So I know that there's a lot of change that's happened within the era of COVID, but apprenticeships within nursing has developed massively in the last sort of couple of years. So now there's something called a nursing associate, which is kind of in between a support worker and a degree trained nurse. So there's this kind of middle role, and then there's also an apprenticeship that you can do a top up from a nurse associate to become a qualified nurse, all within the apprenticeship. Or within the apprenticeship scheme, which is really, really helpful. And obviously, just a last point to say, really, that it does create a skilled and motivated, qualified workforce, which obviously brings improved services and productivity. So, I'm sorry if I've spoken a little bit too long there. We obviously want to just pass over to Walsall College now. So Sue and Steve over at the college, and they're going to tell you a little bit about those 3 apprenticeships that I mentioned. So thank you for listening to me, and I'm going to attempt to stop sharing my screen. Hopefully that's worked.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Fran. Thank you for that introduction. There's a few things that obviously we've got another PowerPoint to go through with you. We're probably touching on the same things, but hopefully it reinforces the message that the Trust are delivering as well. So bear with me. I'm just going to share my screen for the PowerPoint. I've got that many things open today that's not very useful. Okay, why is it not there? No. Let's try again. Fran, you've set some gremlins, I think. Can you see that?
No. No, that's not the one, I don't think so.
See, I can see the one we talked about earlier.
No, that's a different thing completely. That's a Teams meeting, I think.
Okay, let's stop presenting and start again. I could see it, but you guys couldn't.
No.
Right, let's try this now.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yay, got there. Okay, so thank you. I am Sue Poulton, the Apprenticeship Levy Manager here at Walsall College, and with me today is Steve Rolliston. He's our trainer assessor that has worked in the Trust over many years. We're just going to give you a little bit of a flavour today of Walsall College and what we actually deliver. So just to let you know that Walsall College is uniquely and proudly vocational, and our greatest passion is unleashing the potential of individuals, communities and businesses, and our greatest legacy is the talent of our students to become skilled, professional and enterprising. And I know we talk about students, but also our apprenticeship learners are within that mission statement. So just a little bit about Walsall College. We have over 4,000 full-time learners within our core, as we call that. That's students from 16 to 18 coming into the college. We've got several campuses here in Walsall and around Walsall, and just more recently bought the Construction College Midlands over in Kings Norton. We also have 1,600 apprenticeships within our apprenticeship division, and we deliver up to degree level. So we start with the maybe customer service at level 2 up to chartered manager degree. In between that, we do all the business. We do healthcare, pharmacy, dental, accountancy, So we have got quite a large portfolio. Just some of our kite marks here, as you would expect. We've got gold standard investors in people, the matrix standard, the AOC, which is Association of Colleges President Award. So our grade of Ofsted is good, which is great news. So we are regulated by Ofsted, and that they come to us every 2 to 3 years. And as we said today, we're talking about the business admin, team leader and customer service apprentices that we deliver. And as you can see there, we've got some really good success rates. So that's our achievement rates for business admin at 93%, team leader 95%, and customer service 94%. So they're really high. And we've got one of the highest achievements for the endpoint assessment, with many achieving distinctions. So in apprenticeships now, you can gain a pass, merit or distinction. And obviously we try and aim to distinction wherever possible. Just to give you a flavour of the different organisations we work with, we do work with a lot of trusts, and as Fran said earlier, we've worked with your trust for many, many years and have a great relationship. We do work with other trusts, as you can see there, University Hospitals Birmingham, and also some more corporate large organisations such as Barhale and Walsall Housing Group. So as I said, some of these do cross over a little bit. So what is an apprenticeship? It's an earn, work and learn programme, and contrary to belief, it is open to all ages, and it's able for existing employees to upskill, just as Fran said, and newcomers into the business. So if you are a recruiting manager and looking to bring new into your business, you can bring that individual onto an apprenticeship programme where we will train alongside the day job, as it were, supporting that individual's development. So the learning journey will include sector-specific areas of skills, knowledge and behaviours. So that's what we talk about in apprenticeships now. We teach the skills, the knowledge and the behaviours to put into practice in the workplace. And we have to upskill with maths and English if it is that the individual doesn't already hold the necessary qualifications. And we have a team of functional skills teachers that can support, although the trainer assessors will embed that in their delivery as well. So it's nothing to be feared. Maths and English is here. We can support and we can give one-to-one support if needed. So another thing, as Fran had said, the apprenticeship programme is a minimum of a year, but with the endpoint assessment, we have to give another 3 months. So it's minimum over 15 months. And there is the requirement to have 20% off the job training. But we've got a bit of a mythbuster on that we're going to share with you in a little while. So working with you to deliver business admin level 3, team leader level 3 and the customer service level 2 apprenticeship programme. So I'm now going to hand over to Steve, my wingman, who's going to tell you, and I'm going to be his clicker, tell you a bit more in depth about what's included in those programmes.
Okay, so well, thanks ever so much for that, and thanks everyone for taking the time out to come and join the session today. Really what I wanted to do is to give you an overview of the programs that we deliver, but also to look at it, you know, perhaps through your eyes as well, because we do deliver a variety of programs, but in essence what we're trying to do, what we're trying to help you with, is to perhaps develop yourselves, most importantly, and also we work very, very closely with your employer. We've got a really good relationship um, with Joe and with Fran, with your managers throughout, throughout the trust, and that's been built up over quite a long time. There's a lot of people worked hard at that, and what we try and do is give you flexibility, give you confidence, and also strive to listen to what you want, how you want to develop yourselves as well, because we're here to help you in your career, to skill you for that future. um, we do a lot of things. We do virtual sessions at the moment, so we'll give training and guidance on a monthly basis, and that's for all of the areas that we're covering today. So, we speak to your managers, we speak to yourself to try and identify the right times and days, and, we're given that opportunity with the full backing of learning and development, which is great. We give, we do one-to-one sessions with each of you if you join the apprenticeship. That happens monthly. At the moment, that is remote, but obviously we'll see how things transpire. But there's quite it's quite interesting thinking about when we all came over and we were all delivering on site for you, and there were times when a lot of assessors would bump into each other because we would be delivering to quite a lot of apprentices over there. But we try to build up that relationship. That's the key thing. So you do benefit from trusting us to do what you require. We carry out reviews. They're carried out every roughly 4 to 6 weeks. That's when we all get the opportunity to speak to one another, to see how things are going. And I think that's key to any apprenticeship, to be able to talk to your line manager and with yourselves, with the provider, to look at how progress is going, but also to reflect on your ideas, what you would like to see and what you would like to do. So the focus really is on the individual and the organisation to try and get this joined up working together. At the start of any apprenticeship, we will look at you, look at your learning journey, give you an idea of what you'll be doing, um, so that you can see how progress develops on your particular journey. And we support you all the way through with maths and English. I'm really looking forward to this next comment. Next slide, please. I've always wanted to do that, sorry. Okay, so let's drill in now a little bit to the qualifications that we offer. So we offer customer service level 2, and this is for predominantly new recruits to the trust, but it will benefit others. What we're looking to do is to look and develop your knowledge, skills, and behaviours. Some interesting areas that we do cover for you. So we'll be giving you more information and more understanding about your organisation, knowing your customers, regulations and legislation, systems and resources, roles and responsibilities, and how you can be part of the customer experience, the patient experience. So we're looking at how you work with colleagues and how you can help with the developments within customer service areas. For that, you're going to need various skills. And again, this is something that we will help you with. It may be that you feel that you're lacking in confidence, answering telephones, dealing with difficult conversations. So we develop your interpersonal skills, communication skills, and look at your self-awareness as well, how you can reflect on what you do. How to fit in within an organisation is another thing that we look at with you, how you can make a contribution to the organisation. And again, behaviours. So these are things that would be expected of you from your employer, but also we'll be looking at developing open to feedback, how to look at constructive feedback, equality, diversity, and getting things right first time. So we tie in with the values of your organisation and support the development and recognise all of these areas for your qualification. Okay, Sue? Okay, thank you. So, Business Administrator Level 3. So again, it can be for new recruits or people in post. Within this area, we are looking at your administration skills. So we'll be looking to build up your knowledge of stakeholders, and every organisation's got lots of stakeholders. Um, Again, understanding policies and procedures, it's really important that you adhere to what's required. But we'll give you a bigger picture of business admin, not just where you work, but in the world at large, public organisations, private organisations, so public-private sector, and take you through lots of things that you can learn about, such as processes and external environmental factors. I want to give you as good a range as possible of your understanding and develop that. Again, skills that you will demonstrate, because part of the course is obviously teaching you and guiding you and supporting you, which is done by ourselves, but also your employer, your line managers, your colleagues. But also we'll need to recognise these skills put into practice in the workplace. So we'll be looking at how you record, how you document information. We'll look at your discipline, decision making. We'll be looking at your communication skills, quality and planning within the organisation. The specific details of administration, where in conjunction with your line manager, we'll look to enable you to be able to show those skills off. And you'll get the opportunity to do a project. So that project is normally based on a business improvement project, so beneficial to yourselves, but also beneficial to the trust, to your team, and to your colleagues. So we want to bring the best out of you so that you can feel that you've achieved something, not only in a qualification, but also you've made a difference in the workplace. Next slide, please. Okay, team leader level 3. Okay, so this is one that I do deliver quite a lot, and it is for new managers, but also we've added on there for aspiring managers. Now, the main barrier sometimes for somebody being able to demonstrate what they do is the fact that they haven't got the title. However, with liaising with learning development and also with your line manager, you can undertake this course, but you will need to be given opportunities to demonstrate what you can do. So following your training and guidance, following all of the one-to-one sessions and the monthly teaching sessions that you'll attend, will be able, in conjunction with your manager, to look at how you can demonstrate those things. So it could be some project work that you do within your team. It may be, if you are aspiring and you are being developed, that you're given opportunities through delegation of tasks from your line manager. But again, that will have to be agreed and obviously discussed at the time before you actually start, whether that's possible for you. So it's not to build your hopes up, but it's not to knock your hopes down either. That's something that will be discussed and see whether it's possible for you. And we will look at developing you. So managing people, very important, and obviously managing practices and processes. But we're looking for people who really feel that they can make a difference, and I'm sure that's what the trust would look at as well, to be able to look for future aspiring managers, for contingency planning, for all kinds of reasons. So moving on then, assessment. So as Sue rightly said, what we're working on now is something called standards. Within those standards, they all lead to an endpoint assessment. So what you do, you attend your training sessions, you show your skills, you put together all the information through a portfolio. Everything's evidenced on the portfolio called Smart Assessor. But then once all of that's completed, you will be put through gateway once you've got everything that's required, and you have the opportunity to demonstrate your skills to an endpoint assessor. So you'll have the opportunity to talk about what you do and how well you do it. So we'll support you with communication, presentation skills, gaining confidence in doing that kind of thing, so that you'll be enabled to complete your work through an endpoint assessment. There are various requirements for each particular qualification, and we do try to ensure that you go into that ready so that you can try to aim and achieve a distinction. But that's our job, really, to give you the opportunity so that you can get the best from what you need to at the end. Okay, Sue, next slide, please. Do you want to do the 20% off the job, Sue? Are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. As we talked about earlier, the 20% off the job is part of the apprenticeship programme, which slightly concerns people, and they think that is 1 day a week away from their working day or working week. It isn't actually that. The 20% off the job is made up of lots of different things. We work on a smart assessor, which is an e-portfolio, and we ask learners to log their 20% off the job. So it can be made up of tutorials, which we provide, and also one-to-ones with our trainer assessor. It can be made up of maybe internal training that is attainable to the apprenticeship standard that you are doing. It can be made up of online learning, webinars, also things like shadowing. It may be that your job is in one department, but you go into another department for the day. All that is about learning new skills. And so all those activities can be logged on the Smart Assessor to make up that 20%. And we'll support learners and managers to make that happen. Obviously, learners do need some time to be doing their work. So they do need some time to do assignments, and that can be part of that as well. So it's very much supporting that learner to learn new skills, and that might be changing departments every month just for a day. That gives you a skilled, all-rounded workforce as well. So it is a bit of a myth buster. So I hope that.
Oh.
Okay, sorry. So, like I mentioned earlier, we've got a blended approach. We use that Smart Assessor, so that's where apprentices build their portfolio of work, and they would load up the work, and the trainer assessor will mark work and give them feedback. It logs that 20% off the job that we talked about, and it allows the employer, mentor, to see the progress of that learner journey. So where they are on that journey, and the percentage is for everybody to ensure that that learner is on track to successfully achieve. We do a lot of these sessions via the Smart Assessor as well. So again, that gives access for the virtual, like Steve talked about, and those video, Skype, Teams, Zoom, we're all got very familiar with now in our new world. So support, we have frequent reviews with the employer, trainer, assessor. We look at it like a pyramid with the learner at the top, manager, mentor on one side, and us, the training provider, to ensure that that learning journey is successful. We have regular meetings I do with Joe and Fran and the team to look at high level of apprentices and where they are in their journey. We also embed, as you would expect, prevent, British values, safeguarding, equality, diversity and inclusion throughout our programmes. Just a little bit there about some personalisation, some recent feedback that we've had, and it's that bit about the maths and the English that may put some people off who've been in a role for maybe a year and maths and English wasn't their strongest point. But as you can see there, it's given that individual confidence to finally overcome that fear. And encourage them to face this. So that's one of our graduation sessions that we do for all our level 4, 5 and 6s. So we liked that pretty picture, we thought. And I'm now going to hand over back to Fran. I'll stop sharing, I think. Yep. Because for you to carry on, and obviously we'll take questions later.
I'm trying to talk with my mute on. It's always helpful, isn't it? Thanks, Sue. That was really helpful. So we don't want to keep you much longer at all. So we appreciate, as Steve said, we appreciate your time in kind of logging out a little bit about apprenticeships. It's the first time we've done this kind of thing today, so you know, your feedback on how helpful it was to you. We do really hope that you have taken something from this. And just to say, really, get in touch with us if you want to move forward with any of this. So if you're inquiring, you're logging on to for yourself, or if you're looking at your team and how you can incorporate apprenticeships in your team, we'd love to speak to you. Just on screen here, I think you should be able to see some success stories. These are only a few, really, but say take Holly for example. Some of you might know her. She started in trust as an apprentice, so she was employed as a new apprentice as an administrator 13 on probably about £2.70 an hour, probably actually back then, for 12 months, and now she's an assistant directorate manager, and she's done various apprenticeships in her journey. Various others, you can see Harry there, who's a simulation technician at the moment. I suppose slightly different from administration, but he came in doing an apprenticeship. Matthew, and perhaps slightly different one here, a pharmacy. So Jade doing a pharmacy technician apprenticeship, and Ellie, who is within the team, or not necessarily within the apprentice team, but workforce, who we work quite closely with, and she's just kind of completed her apprenticeship, and has now got a substantive post and has got loads of exciting opportunities ahead. And then at the bottom here, you'll see Anne and Mandy. I was wondering, actually, looking quite closely at that graduation picture, whether they were on that, because I know they've done some of the other qualifications on here. I don't think you can see it very clearly, but they're actually signed up to do the Chartered Manager Apprenticeship, I think. Joe, am I right?
Sorry, just set myself off you. Anne is currently doing her Chartered Manager degree. Mandy completed her level 4, so she's not gone on to the degree, but okay. Mandy's doing hers as we speak.
So yeah, that's just a few really examples of staff that have either started as an apprentice and carried on, or and how it's benefited. It doesn't necessarily give you as diverse a picture as we have, to be honest. It's a little bit difficult to gain some comments from people. We're trying to work on doing that a little. But yeah, so has anybody got any questions? Let me just go back to that. Not that we need a slide to say ask some questions, but there's quite a nice little stick man there. So please feel free to kind of shout up. I don't know how it works on Teams. Do you have to put your hand up or what, or how does it work? Help me out, Joe. or just unmute yourself and speak.
Yeah, if anyone wants to just unmute themselves and ask a question, or just type it in the chat.
Hello, it's just to ask, the 20% you refer to, is that 20% of the course or 20% of a week? Because I think that's where we get confused when our staff are going on these courses as to what the 20% actually pertains to.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you begging to join in there, Sue?
Yeah. It's 20% of the week, or 20% of the whole apprenticeship. So if they're on for 12 months, it's 20% of that 12 months. Like I said earlier, it feels like a day a week, and there's very much well, we can't lose our individual out of the business for a day a week. You need to let them attend their tutorials and let them attend their sessions with their trainer assessor, because that's their learning of the skills, knowledge and behaviours. But like I said, all of those other things, such as maybe shadowing their line manager, or internal training, or maybe being in another department, or maybe being in a meeting taking notes, they're learning new skills, and that is part of that program. And we set that scene very much from day one when we do the induction sign up with the line manager. So as everybody's fully understanding about that 20% off the job. Yes, it is regulated by Ofsted, but it's how it's used for that learner to learn new skills. I don't know whether that helps, Kerry.
Yeah, it's just we've in the last couple of years had apprentices, so they'd go for their course actually physically when we could visit people, but then they'd have like assessor time and exams that they'd try and claim time back for. So it felt some weeks that it was quite a big chunk of time we were releasing. There was no acceptance on their behalf that some of their time had to be put into it. It wasn't all just time you could take from work.
You see, when we do the sign up as well, we ask the apprentice and the manager to sign, well, we go over that with the managers, to sign the apprenticeship agreement, and it talks about that 20% off the job. And it also talks about what commitment is needed by that apprentice to do some work in their own time as well. Yeah, if they've got exams, clearly you've got to support, but it is really about supporting that. I see Fran's got a nice slide there. She can, there's lots of things on there.
Can you see that? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
So this is just a page on our hub, Kerry. So, and like Sue's just said, it is flexible. So, and that's where your communication is the key, isn't it, in terms of what that apprentice, where they're at in their journey. Are they about to sit some exams, or are they coming up to a busier period, or are they not? Are they up to date, and are they, you know? And so so each week might be different, and it isn't necessarily like Sue, isn't necessarily right, you need 7 hours every week to do. It is flexible. So as long as they've had the 20% of their working hours across the life of that apprenticeship, then within that it's flexible. So if you as a team know, I don't know, I'm just using finance for example, so end of year for finance team would be, I imagine, a really busy time. So that's when we would try and work with our providers like Walsall to say, right, can you work with us to try and avoid this really busy period in our team, because we know it's all hands on deck at this period of time, and then so that they're doing perhaps a little bit more maybe than their whatever it would work out as a week in one particular month, and then they can give you, don't necessarily need any off the job during another month. So it's the idea is that it tries to suit the business as much as possible, really.
And,
Thank you.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, when he's busy, and you don't want people to be taken away as such because of the pressures, we can do other things. We can observe. We can get the naturally occurring evidence without interrupting anything. So that's probably a good time to be assessed. In other words, to be looked, sort of take that evidence from that kind of period.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Kira. I think if we've got a question from
Chris, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, just from my perspective, I joined this call just in terms of the funding streams relevant to taking on apprentices in the first instance.
Yeah.
So how does that work into if we were considering bringing in a new apprentice? What funding is that? Because I missed what it was said, but it was something to do with
sorry.
the levy doesn't necessarily take away the fund that you'll need to fund it as a team. It's not work time that it's funded.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it funds qualification and the training and the assessment based with that. So absolutely, you have to obviously fund the salary within your team. So and obviously the off the job within that. So it depends whether you're looking at getting new into trust kind of apprentices, or you're looking at upskilling existing staff. And I think looking at it as a whole team opportunity, I mean, I know within the trust historically, this is perhaps going slightly off tangent, but we've had a bit of a policy where any new kind of VAR vacancies at like sort of band 2, potentially band 3 level have at VAR been considered as an apprentice first. So they're looking at we're looking at bringing that back. I think that's kind of been on hold a little bit. Joe, perhaps say a little bit more. Obviously, I haven't been here, but it's perhaps been on hold at the last sort of 12 months, really. But that, so if that is the case, and so you have a band 2 job role funding within your your funding structure, then if you take that as an apprentice, so you instead of recruiting your band 2, you will recruit an apprentice to start with. The idea of how it would work is that obviously you keep your band 2 funding. Apprenticeship obviously isn't band 2 salary, so national apprenticeship minimum wage is what we kind of pay for our kind of new entry level apprenticeships in admin, and so you keep the band 2 salary, and then obviously you make that bit of a saving for the first sort of 12 to 18 months depending on what qualification it is. And then the idea is that you've trained somebody up, you've grown them into what you want them to be for your team, and then at the end of it they can go into that band 2 role. And I suppose in a wider sense of looking at your team, then you're looking at who have you got within the rest of your team, and while you're new apprentice up, you might not be able to put another member of staff on an apprenticeship to upskill them, but they could then kind of upskill by mentoring your new apprentice. But when your new apprentice is up to speed, then you've got kind of workload potentially taken up by the apprentice being in post. And I suppose there's lots of different ways of thinking about it, but ultimately it has to be funded by the team. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, it does. Thanks.
Yeah, bro. Any other questions?
Just it's probably to help you guys really as much as anything. I'm just wondering what in terms of the people on this call, what sort of split is it? How many are the managers wanting to be accessing the training, and how many are actually people wanting to become the apprentices themselves?
Yeah,
I mean, it might
it's a
be
really
worth you
good
doing
question.
a poll or something just to try and split that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because I know why I'm here, but I don't know
Yes.
necessarily why if others have come for the same reason.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really helpful. Thanks for the suggestion. How do we do that? from a novice of Teams, I don't know how we do that.
I mean, you could probably just get people to type in the chat really, and then you've got a record
Perfect.
to go back to afterwards. You just say why I'm here.
Okay. Wonderful.
And they don't need to do it
Thank
now,
you.
they can do it after the meeting's finished. So.
Okay, that's really helpful. I think I need to go on an apprenticeship in Teams. That's really helpful. Yeah, I was wondering that myself, Chris, at the beginning of the call, thinking, I wonder, obviously we want to aim this at the right people, don't we? And to this, and everybody gets what they want. Thank you for everybody that's kind of input, really helpful. So, I can see obviously there's a few managers here. For whatever you're looking at across your team, or if there's specific members within your team, get in touch. We'd love to come and have a chat with you, and kind of look at your whole team and to how apprenticeships can serve your team well. We're here and we want to help. So please come and get in touch. And obviously we've got lots of money to spend, so we want to do that too as well.
Fran, just a thought, if anybody would like to speak to people who've been through the apprenticeships,
yeah,
I've definitely got some learners who'd be more than happy to do that at different levels. So
great.
If you want that kind of support, and speak to people who are based at the trust and who've been through apprenticeships,
Absolutely.
then just drop me a line and we'll go through Fran or Joe, and then I'll make sure that can happen.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And on the same note as that, we've got many managers as well who'd be willing to chat to you from a manager's point of view as to how it's worked for them. I know, a number of teams, in recent years have used the apprenticeship program to really grow their teams. And like I said, it isn't necessarily just as new into trust and apprenticeships, I'm not sure if I mentioned, we looked at a HR training role recently, and all sorts of manner of levels. So an advertisement of a trainee something, and then obviously you're not looking at paying the minimum apprenticeship salary. You'd be looking at, I don't know if you've heard of or seen Annex 21, so it's like a training pay scale, and that's generally what tends to be used, and it's a certain percentage of what the salary would be for that skilled person once they're qualified and once they've completed their apprenticeship. So that's kind of what you're looking at really for those higher levels. So if there's anything else, then any other questions, then obviously shout it. But we really appreciate your time, as we've said, and please do get in touch, and please do have a scan through our hub pages. The team have done a wonderful job in the 12 months that I've been off. That the hub pages look quite good, and there's lots of helpful information there, including all of the details about how to recruit a new like entry-level apprentice, and how you go about that. There's documents to help you, so there's templates for job descriptions, person specifications, and that sort of thing, because there are sort of some specifics as to what we'd look at in terms of prerequisites when advertising, and and interview questions we can help you with. We used to do assessment centres, so we used to kind of do kind of big group recruitment drives for apprenticeships, and even though we've moved away from that, we've got some really good learning that we've done historically, so rather than reinventing the wheel, we can pass on what we've got to you. Okay, fabulous. Thank you ever so much, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for inviting
you.
us. Bye.
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 Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.